What if everything your parents taught you about money was wrong? What if the advice you heard your entire life, go to school, get good grades, find a safe job, save money, was actually the reason most people stay broke? That is exactly what Robert Kiyosaki argues in one of the most controversial and best-selling finance books of all time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki grew up in Hawaii with two father figures. His real father, the man he calls his poor dad, was one of the most educated men in Hawaii. He had a PhD. He was a respected government employee. He earned a good salary. But he was always broke, always stressed about money, always living paycheck to paycheck. His best friend's father, the man he calls his rich dad, never even finished 8th grade. He had no fancy degrees, no prestigious job title. But he went on to become one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. He owned businesses, he owned real estate, he had complete financial freedom, two fathers, two completely opposite approaches to money. One stayed poor, one became rich. And the lessons young Robert learned from watching both of them changed his life forever. This is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the #1 personal finance book of all time. Over 32 million copies sold worldwide. And in the next 30 minutes, I am going to walk you through every single key lesson from this book, the lessons that school never taught you. Before we dive in, if you find value in this kind of content, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We break down the world's most powerful books every single week, right here on the paper trail. Also, the link to grab the full book is right there in the description. Now, smash that like button and let us get into it. Lesson 1. The rich don't work for money. This is the very first lesson Rich Dad taught young Robert, and it completely flipped everything he believed about money. When Robert was 9 years old, he asked his rich dad to teach him how to make money. Rich Dad agreed, but instead of giving him a lecture, he gave him a job. He made Robert work in one of his small grocery stores for 10 cents an hour. 10 cents. Even for that time, it was almost nothing. After a few weeks, Robert was frustrated. He was angry. He went to Rich Dad and complained. He said, "This is not fair. I am working hard and barely earning anything. I thought you were going to teach me how to make money," and that is exactly the moment Rich Dad was waiting for. He looked at Robert and said, "Most people spend their entire lives blaming their boss for not paying them enough. They think the solution is a higher salary, a better job, more hours. But that is the trap. That is exactly how poor and middle-class people think. They work for money, and they will spend their entire lives working for money, getting a paycheck, paying bills, getting another paycheck, paying more bills, over and over until they die." Rich Dad then said something that changed Robert's life forever. He said, "The rich do not work for money. They make money work for them." What does that mean? It means instead of trading your time for a paycheck, you should be building or buying things that generate money for you, even when you're sleeping. A business that runs without you, a rental property that pays you every month, investments that grow over time. That is what the rich do. They build systems that produce income. Poor Dad's advice was, study hard, get good grades, and find a high-paying job. Rich Dad's advice was, learn how money works and make it work for you. Poor Dad saw a good job as the goal. Rich Dad saw a good job as the trap. And here is the painful truth. Most people are so afraid of not having money that they spend their entire lives working for it. They are driven by fear. Fear of not paying the bills, fear of not having enough. And when they do make more money, they are driven by greed. They want a bigger house, a nicer car, more stuff. So they need an even bigger paycheck. And the cycle continues. Rich Dad called this the rat race. You earn more, you spend more, you need more, you work more, and you never escape. The hamster wheel just keeps spinning. The first lesson is clear. Stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an investor and a business owner. Do not work for money. Make money work for you. Lesson 2. Why teach financial literacy? This chapter introduces the single most important concept in the entire book. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability. Rich Dad's definition is simple. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That is it. Now, here is where it gets controversial. Kiyosaki says your house is not an asset. Most people believe their home is their biggest asset. But think about it. Your house takes money out every single month. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance. That makes it a liability. A rental property, on the other hand, that is an asset. Because tenants put money into your pocket every month. Same building, completely different function. Kiyosaki explains 3 spending patterns. The poor earn money and spend all of it on expenses, nothing left. The middle class earn more but buy liabilities they think are assets. Big house, nice car, big loans, money constantly flowing out. The rich do something different. They buy real assets first, businesses, rental properties, stocks. These assets generate income. Then they use that income to pay for their lifestyle. The key difference: the middle class buy luxuries first and struggle. The rich buy assets first and let their assets buy their luxuries. Before you buy anything, ask one question. Is this putting money in my pocket or taking money out? That one question will change your financial life forever. Lesson 3. Mind your own business. When Kiyosaki says mind your own business, he does not mean stay out of other people's affairs. He means literally build your own business, your own asset column. Most people spend their entire lives building someone else's business. You go to work, give your best hours, your best energy. But who gets rich? Your employer, not you. Kiyosaki says there is a difference between your profession and your business. Your profession is your job, your 9 to 5. Your business is your asset column, what you build on the side, what will eventually make you free. He uses Ray Kroc as the perfect example, the man who built McDonald's into a global empire. Most people think Kroc was in the hamburger business, but Kroc himself said, "I am not in the hamburger business. I am in the real estate business." McDonald's is one of the largest real estate owners in the world. Every franchise sits on land owned by McDonald's Corporation. The burgers pay the bills. The real estate builds the wealth. Rich Dad told Robert the same thing. Keep your day job if you need to, but after hours, start minding your own business. Start building your asset column. What counts as assets? Kiyosaki lists them clearly. Businesses that do not require your presence, stocks, bonds, rental properties, royalties from intellectual property, anything that generates income without you trading your time for it. The mistake most people make is they spend their entire paycheck on expenses and liabilities. There is nothing left to build assets. The rich pay themselves first. They put money into assets before they pay anyone else. Then their assets pay for everything. Your job makes you a living. Your assets make you wealthy. Mind your own business means stop only working for others and start building something for yourself. Lesson 4. The history of taxes and corporations. This chapter is about something most people never think about: how the rich use the tax system legally to keep more of their money while everyone else gives a huge chunk of their income to the government. Kiyosaki explains a simple truth. Taxes were originally created to tax the rich, but the rich are smart. They hired lawyers and accountants. They found loopholes. They created corporations. And eventually, the tax burden shifted from the rich to the middle class. Here is how it works. When you have a regular job, your income gets taxed before you even see it. You earn money. The government takes its cut. Then you get what is left. You earn. You get taxed. You spend. But when you own a corporation, it works completely differently. The corporation earns money. The corporation spends money on legitimate business expenses. And then the corporation gets taxed on whatever is left. You earn, you spend, then you get taxed. That is a massive difference. The employee gets taxed on everything they earn. The corporation gets taxed only on what is left after expenses. This means the rich, who own corporations, can legally write off cars, travel, meals, education, insurance, and dozens of other expenses before they ever pay $1 in taxes. Kiyosaki is not saying to cheat on your taxes. He is saying the tax code is written to benefit business owners and investors, not employees. The rules are different depending on which side you are on. This is why Rich Dad always told Robert, Do not work for money and do not work for the government. Build a corporation. Let it protect your wealth. Let it minimize your taxes. Let it work for you instead of against you. The lesson is clear. Financial literacy includes understanding how taxes and corporations work. The rich are not smarter. They just play by different rules, and those rules are available to anyone willing to learn them. Lesson 5. The rich invent money. This chapter is about the one thing that separates the rich from everyone else. It is not intelligence, it is not education, it is not luck, it is financial creativity. Kiyosaki says, most people only know one way to make money. Work hard, get a paycheck, that is it. They wait for opportunities to come to them. They play it safe, they follow the crowd, and they stay broke. The rich do the opposite. They create opportunities, they invent money. They see deals where others see nothing. They take small amounts of money and turn them into large amounts through creativity and financial knowledge. Kiyosaki gives a personal example. He found a small house that was in foreclosure. The owner was desperate to sell. The market value was $100,000, but Robert bought it for $75,000. He then sold it quickly for $95,000. He made $20,000 in a few hours. No boss, no paycheck, no 9 to 5, just financial knowledge applied to a real opportunity. Most people would have walked right past that deal. They would not have seen it. They would not have known what to do. They would have been too afraid. But Kiyosaki saw it because he had spent years educating himself about money, investing, and real estate. And that is his point. The single greatest asset you have is your mind. If you train it well, it can create enormous wealth. If you do not train it, you will spend your life working for someone who did. Kiyosaki says most people are not poor because they do not earn enough. They are poor because they only know one way to make money, working for someone else. The rich have multiple ways: business income, investment income, real estate income, royalty income. They have trained their minds to see money where others see nothing. The lesson: invest in your financial education, read books, take courses, study deals, learn about investing. The more you know, the more opportunities you will see, and the more money you will create. Lesson 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. This is the final major lesson from Rich Dad, and it ties everything together perfectly. Kiyosaki says most people choose their jobs based on one thing: how much it pays. They chase the highest salary, the biggest bonus, the most benefits. But Rich Dad taught him something different. He said, do not work for money, work to learn. Kiyosaki tells the story of his poor dad. His poor dad was highly educated. He had a PhD. He was a specialist. He knew one thing very well, but because he only knew one thing, he was completely dependent on his employer. When he lost his job, he had no other skills to fall back on. He was stuck. Rich Dad took the opposite approach. He never specialized. Instead, he worked in dozens of different jobs and businesses. He learned sales, he learned marketing, he learned accounting, he learned management, he learned investing, he learned negotiation. He was not the best at any single one of these, but he was good enough at all of them. And that combination made him wealthy. Kiyosaki says, this is the difference between specializing and generalizing. The school system teaches you to specialize. Pick one thing, get really good at it, get a degree in it, get a job doing it. But the problem with specialization is that you become dependent. You need that one job. You need that one employer. You have no flexibility. Rich Dad said the key skills everyone needs to learn are sales and marketing. Most people are terrified of selling. They hate rejection. They hate putting themselves out there. But Rich Dad said, look at any successful business and you will find someone who knows how to sell. Sales is the #1 skill for building wealth. If you can sell, you will never be poor. Kiyosaki himself followed this advice. After college, he took a job at Xerox, not because it paid well, but because they had one of the best sales training programs in the world. He was terrible at first. He got rejected constantly. But after 4 years, he became one of their top salespeople, and that skill, the ability to sell, made him millions later in life. The lesson is powerful. Stop chasing paychecks. Start chasing knowledge. Every job you take should teach you something valuable, something that moves you closer to financial freedom. Learn sales, learn investing, learn how businesses work, learn how money works, because in the long run, what you learn will always be worth more than what you earn. Closing, key takeaways, call to action. So let us bring it all together. Rich Dad. Poor Dad is not just a book about money. It is a book about mindset. It is about seeing the world differently than 95% of people. Robert Kiyosaki watched two fathers live two completely different lives. His poor dad, highly educated, hardworking, respected, died broke. His rich dad, no formal education, no fancy degrees, died one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. Same economy, same country, same era, completely different results. And the only difference was how they thought about money. Let me walk you through the key lessons one final time. Lesson 1. The rich do not work for money. They make money work for them. Stop trading your time for a paycheck. Start building systems that generate income without you. Lesson 2. Know the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Buy assets. Avoid liabilities. That one rule will change everything. Lesson 3. Mind your own business. Your job is not your business. Your asset column is your business. Keep your day job if you need to, but start building assets on the side. Lesson 4. Understand taxes and corporations. The tax system is designed to benefit business owners and investors, not employees. Learn the rules and use them to your advantage. Lesson 5. The rich invent money. Your greatest asset is your mind. Train it, educate it. The more financially literate you are, the more opportunities you will see and the more wealth you will create. Lesson 6. Work to learn, not work for money. Stop chasing the highest paycheck. Start chasing knowledge and skills, especially sales, because what you learn will always be worth more than what you earn. Now, here is what I want you to understand. Kiyosaki is not saying school is useless. He's not saying quit your job tomorrow. He is saying the traditional path, study hard, get a job, work for 40 years, retire, is not the only path, and for most people it is not even a good path. The real path to financial freedom is education, not school education, financial education, learning how money works, learning how the rich think, learning how to build assets, learning how to make money work for you instead of you working for money. Rich Dad, Poor Dad has been criticized by many people. Some say Kiyosaki oversimplifies things. Some say his advice is risky. And honestly, some of those criticisms are fair. But the core message of this book is undeniable. The way most people think about money is broken. And until you fix your thinking, you will never fix your finances. The rich are not rich because they got lucky. They are rich because they see money differently. They play a different game with different rules. And this book is your invitation to start playing that game too. And that is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If this summary added value to your life, hit that like button. It takes 1 second and it helps this channel more than you know. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We break down the world's most powerful books every single week right here on the paper trail. Finance, self-improvement, psychology, business, the books that actually change lives. Also, the link to grab the full book is right there in the description below. Some books are worth reading cover to cover, and this is definitely one of them. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stop working for money. Start making money work for you.